Holidays, traditions even. We get them every year, sure. Everybody has their things they have to do every year, stuff to eat, stuff to watch and open, and there's no shortage of stuff to watch out there. And while there are plenty of specials made specifically for the holiday season, some of the specials that I enjoy the most happen to come from the cartoons that run all year long. They take a certain episode, maybe stretch it a bit longer, and turn it into something that you could watch every year. There's just something special about seeing characters in a world that you're used to, celebrating something that you're accustomed to. And one of my favorite channels to do this was the Cartoon Network. I feel like they really took the time to build up this whole seasonal atmosphere. They'd use their characters in bumpers and have them interact with each other in a holiday setting with snow or activities going on. The kind of stuff that you would go out and do. And there's so many I could pick to talk about, but I'm going over 3 that are usually at the top of my list to rewatch every year. The Billy and Mandy special is handled exactly how they handle pretty much every situation, with lots of sarcasm and horror. It starts off with Billy and Mandy at the mall to see Santa, who is being played by their neighbor Scar, who is a character left over from their sister show Evil Con Carne. Dissatisfied and doubtful about his existence,
Grim, everyone knows that Santa is an invention designed by big corporations to sell tinsel and video games to an unsuspecting public.
The whole childhood wonder stage just blew right past you, didn't it?
Grim teleports them to the North Pole to meet them. And like I said, this being a very sarcastic show, their Santa is a very grimy guy, and they did about just the most horrifying thing they could do. They had him voiced by Gilbert Godfrey.
I'll swallow your soul!
Also, he's a vampire. They end up getting the story from Mrs. Claus that someone may have turned him into this vampire, and that they are to go and seek out the head one and eliminate him, to turn him back to normal and save Christmas. And so they find the head vampire, and this guy is one of my favorite parts of the whole special. He's this high society fancy pants, and every line is delivered so hilariously. He's not got a minute wasted, and he's expertly voiced by Malcolm McDowell.
All my windows are handcrafted by local artisans.
That was the head vampire?
Or his mother.
But as it turns out, he's not the vampire responsible.
You don't want the head vampire. You want the head vampire.
A head vampire?
Yes, they did this whole reorganization thing a couple of 100 years ago.
See ya, Baron. We're off to save Christmas.
Save Christmas? Wait! Can I go with you? I've always wanted to save Christmas. Someday, I'm gonna save Christmas!
Back at the workshop, it's Billy who discovers the antidote to cure Vampire Santa.
Ho, ho, ho! If you're getting this message, I've been bitten to show!
And we see the head vampire who caused all this was Mrs. Claus herself. And we get an excellent little action climax of them fighting all these hordes of vampire elves. But upon returning Santa to his normal state, it was really all about Mrs. Claus getting some time to herself.
Between you and me, this is like the 6th or 7th time she's turned me into a vampire.
So if you've seen Nightmare Before Christmas just a few too many times and still love horror and comedy mixed with the Christmas season, then this is definitely one to watch.
We're off to save Christmas,
Off to save Christmas.
and we're cold.
Super cold.
Yes, we forgot our jackets, 'cause we didn't bring our jackets. So we'll freeze, and we'll...
Great.
So this Christmas episode is really special to me because it's really an X-Men parody in disguise. And it's also one for whoever was into the number 3 and 4 relationship. The amount of X-Men references in this just brings me so much joy. They operate under the name Alpha Flight, which is a parody of the X-Men related team Alpha Flight, which I guess you would think that they'd adapt the X-Men name or one of their teams into a Christmas related pun. But I don't know, something, Christ Man doesn't really sound that good to me. Maybe even C, no! But Alpha Strike is onto Sector V's tail for invading the North Pole and stealing a device that they call the Reindeer. And keeping in theme with the X-Men parody, each member of Alpha Strike is a direct parody of a famous X-Man. You have Wolverine, Wintergreen, Colossus, Coniferous, Nightcrawler, Nutcracker, Snow Angel for Storm. And you know, K&D is kind of underrated as an action show. The action scenes here, as well as in many episodes, are a lot of fun to watch. And it's also hilarious how this fight scene incorporates constant Christmas puns. But as the fight cools down, they realize that these are not the kids they're actually after, when it was really longtime Kids Next Door villains, the Delightful Children. They're really the perfect villains for a Christmas episode. A bunch of spoiled, rich kids who are taking everything for themselves. And I love how Santa works in this universe. It's basically just another X-Men pun. The reindeer is actually what Cerebro is to those comics. But instead of just locating mutants, it delivers presents to the world. He's one of those buff iterations that fights, and sure, he loses the fight to a bunch of 9-year-olds, but he's got a lot of weapons, so I like him. And in the end, KND wins over and saves Christmas. This special isn't about saving the day from some holiday-ruining threat. It's much more low-key and down-to-earth. Well, about as low-key as Ed, Edd n Eddy usually gets. So Eddie, being the total brat that he is, rips open all of his Christmas presents before Christmas Day and hates everything he finds.
I hate getting clothes for Christmas!
So after consulting with the other Eds, he scouts out on his own to go scam presents from other kids around the neighborhood. This is a great setup to look into everyone's holiday traditions. We get each household for the kids. Johnny's got some weird nature thing going on. Naz's holiday's pretty much perfect in every way, but he manages to screw up anyways. And of course, Rolf has some weird foreign thing happening with him. He approaches each of them with some kind of sob story about how he's not getting the holiday he needs, so he needs to butt in on theirs. Disturbed with the way Eddie's going about all this, Double D and Ed actually set up scenarios to try and teach him the true meaning of Christmas. Meanwhile, we get the Kinker sisters who accidentally end up recreating the wise man's journey. This special manages to be such a chill experience while delivering a lot of really good comedic moments. And so after exhausting all the neighborhood kids, Eddie winds up just traveling the streets until he happens upon a broken Christmas tree and gets a chance to do something selfless for the first time in this whole special and most of the series. And in that, he actually gets rewarded, and then immediately takes everything for himself again. But it quickly backfires, and the other Eds are roped into the punishment as well. So yeah, watching these is just one way I kind of get into the mood for everything. It sometimes feels like just having old friends come by and do the same thing you always do, but sometimes that's what you need, you know? And well, I guess I can't really make a Christmas episode without saying Merry Christmas.